A time comes in the life of every race when people are driven by echoes of the past to chart a course for an exalted future. Africa is at this threshold, as major actors in the Africa arena plot a renaissance towards common destiny. Let's pedal across the streams of yesterday, through the backstreets of Africa, to the defining roles of policymakers, the political realities of the African nation, balance of power, and the strive to sustain national interest and identity. Join us on Network Africa on Channels Television. Network Africa, the rallying point for the emergence of a new Africa.
On Network Africa this week, it's indeed a breath of fresh air as the good news outweighs the bad. First up, the fight against the spread of the Ebola virus continues and relative progress is being made.
Nigeria has done well, thank God, in containing the Ebola virus. And today there is no case. We had 19 cases, 7 deaths, the rest recovered, no case. How did it happen? Massive communication. We used the mobile telephony to send out SMSs, the government did, to those 125 million lines.
Then Kenyans commemorate 1 year since the Westgate Mall attack, in which 67 people were killed.
Those 67 lives that were lost only proved to all of us the need to stay as one nation. Evil was defeated. Terror has no place in dividing Kenyans.
Also a positive trend which has seen the number of hungry people decline globally in more than 100 million over the last decade.
The progress has been greatest in Southeast Asia and East Asia more generally, as well as in Latin America. There has been much less progress in South Asia and very little progress in Sub-Saharan Africa until fairly recently.
And despite the crisis in his country, which appears to keep this young man grounded, he is determined to fly.
They sometimes call me I'm crazy and all this. Even sometimes when I bring the material, I sneak them into the house through the fence so that they will not see it. If they see it, they'll like start saying I'm wasting money on crazy stuff. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Network Africa with me, Cynthia Array. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Now, the world might be filled with people of different colors, but when it comes to the spread of the Ebola virus, countries from the Western world and developing countries are working together as one people to prevent further spread in countries like Liberia and Sierra Leone.
On Tuesday, September the 23rd, German aid organizations joined international efforts to try to combat Ebola in the Liberian capital, Monrovia, where 1,000 people are said to have been killed. Part of that help is being given by German organizations International Search and Rescue and Action Media, which have brought supplies to help with the construction of a new Ebola isolation center.
And they are completely closed tents, like I said, with a capacity of 44 beds.
Help has also arrived for Sierra Leone, where a team of 165 medical professionals in Havana received special training before heading there. Here, just before the team made the trip, the Cuban delegation watched as doctors and biohazard experts dressed in protective suits delivered potentially life-saving safety training sessions. During the training session in the Cuban capital, George Perez, director of the Pedro Curie Tropical Medicine Institute, explained the importance of disinfection as a means of preventing the spread of the highly infectious disease.
This infection is transmitted through personal contact with the person, that is, through tears, sweat, blood, urine, fecal matter. So there is no bodily contact or bodily fluid that isn't infectious. Even when people talk, fluid is expelled, and thick droplets can land in some places, and these can also be infectious. Therefore, it is very important that everything that is used be disinfected with hypochlorites.
The virus is one which could be fought as long as they are equipped with the right kind of information. Hence, the United Nations Children's Agency, UNICEF, has launched a new open-source app store for international development known as Rapid Pro. Speaking at the event, UNICEF Executive Director Anthony Lake added a new app called Mero was also being created to be used in Ebola control strategies.
We are developing now something called M-Hero, which I'm excited about, which is being developed for Rapid Pro, and we're going to use for when we get it in, for the Ebola response, and it will allow us then to check on how the health centers are doing and check daily on the health of the community health workers.
Rapid Pro has been developed in collaboration with Nairoka, a Rwandan software firm responsible for TextIt, an intuitive visual interface for building mobile-based applications. Any government or partner can download these basic apps, customize them for their own country, and just like iTunes, there is quality control system. The launch of the app was a huge deal which attracted the likes of the Nigerian Finance Minister, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who seized the opportunity to enlighten the world on the progress Nigeria has made.
Nigeria has done well, thank God, in containing the Ebola virus. And today there is no case. We had 19 cases, 7 deaths, the rest recovered, no case. How did it happen? Massive communication. We used the mobile telephony to send out SMSs, the government did, to those 125 million lines. I have mine. I was trying to pull it up on my phone just to show you. So with that, we were able to tell every household what it looks like, the symptoms, everybody who had a phone.
For now, the efforts to contain the spread of the virus in the affected countries continues until Ebola becomes a thing of the past.
In other news, on the 21st of September, the world joined hundreds of Kenyans in commemorating the death of 67 people who were killed during the Kenya Westgate Mall siege. A crowd of young Kenyans attended a poetry reading marking the first anniversary of the attack, dubbed Stories from the Mall. The collection of stories and poems paid tribute to the victims who died in the attack.
Created and directed by Mugambi Nthiga, the performance brought together some of Nairobi's best actors and thespians. It was held at the Story Moja Festival, a 5-day literature and writing event that includes drama, book readings, academic debates, and talks by guest authors.
Stories from the Mall came about as a result of my reading a certain article come blog post called A Lamentation of Mourners by Wambui Monkey. Reading that piece of work was such a moving experience that I started reading it out loud at home. And when I read it out loud, the words coming out, I was like, this is powerful, even listening to the words as I say them.
The pieces encouraged the audience to think and process the events that happened at Westgate. Nthiga says he hopes the readings would allow for more open conversations about people's fears and memories of the assault.
One of the pieces asked the questions, asked a question. We talked about possibility, the possibility that this could come back worse, more tragic. And it asks questions like, who are they? Will they return? These are the questions that people ask. I can't walk next to CCTV footage without looking at it and wondering what I would look like on that camera running away from gunfire.
On September the 21st, 2013, Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda-linked Somali militant Islamist group, attacked the Westgate Mall, tossing grenades, spraying shoppers with bullets, and holding parts of the building for 4 days. The siege left over 70 people dead and hundreds wounded.
What's your name? On that fateful day, we just had gunshots, and people are running all over around the mall. And because there were customers in the banking hall, what we did, we just went to a secure place together with our customers, and we managed to be there for all those hours because we were praying. Okay, at first we cried and everything because we knew that the building was going to be bombed once we realized there were terrorists, and we prayed so hard. And I know it's by God's grace that we are alive today at this moment.
Al-Shabaab staged the Westgate attack in retaliation for Kenya's involvement in Somalia. Despite the difficult material, actor Nick Ndeda said stories from the mall helped him reflect on his feelings about the assault.
For me, the fact that I always shopped at Westgate on the third Saturday of the month, and then on the third Saturday of the month that I missed because I had to do some stuff at work, was the one Saturday that this happened. So for months on end, I was always asking myself, if you were in there, would you have survived? You see the stuff on TV from the footage from what happened. It's scary. You can't even put yourself in that situation. You wouldn't want to, but yet people were there. So I had to pretty much relive like this nightmare that I had hoped would have been forgotten, but it's also very necessary to talk about it.
But like some of the audience members, he admitted that the terrorist attack, the worst in Kenya since an Al-Qaeda bombing in 1998, has caused doubts about Kenya's security.
To be honest, I'm not really confident in our security systems. So if it's a question of me feeling as if I could just go to any shopping mall and nothing is going to happen to me because I trust them, that's not the case. I really don't feel safe in that context. But do I walk around in fear of getting blown up anywhere? No, because life has to go on.
So this is a global problem, and we understand. So we'll do all our best. I'm one of the members of the National Security Committee in the Senate. We'll ensure we address the issues. We want members of the public to be vigilant in case they spot any suspicious characters to report to the police.
1 year on, many Kenyans are still trying to come to terms with the horror of the Westgate Mall attack. The writers and performers of stories from the mall hope their work can help bring some healing and closure, not just for the victims, but for the country as a whole.
Now, while commemoration went on in Kenya, something special was also happening in Somalia, where journalists met to discuss ways to enhance peace in the Horn of African countries as part of celebrations to mark International Peace Day, also on the 21st of September.